Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Is It That Deep podcast. I'm doing your host, and I have a special guest with me. But before I introduce my guest, you guys know the drill already. I'm going to introduce the topic. So, the topic for today is making financial decisions in a relationship. This topic, before we get into it, just it's going to be very interesting. So make sure you sit back, because this guest that I have with me, he's already gingered. So it's about to be fun. All right. Yeah. So the guest I have with me is Kelvin. We went to undergrad together, and I guess we've been friends ever since. So he's going to kind of introduce himself some more and say a fun fact.
Yes. I was thinking about a fun fact, and I guess I speak multiple languages, but I don't think that is fun enough. But I can actually back-to-back recite any Adele lyrics from any of our album from like 21 all the way to 30. Or I think 19, but I can't count.
That's actually mad. I didn't know you could do that.
Me out here being all Adele, you don't know that shit? Anyway.
Kelvin, don't kill me, please. Okay. But I funny thing is, I see Kelvin more as like all these boys that want to do like alpha male, tough. So the fact that you're listening to Adele,
tough.
I'm serious.
I don't think I do, but okay, why not? Let's get to the point.
Okay, all right. So, okay, that was that for the icebreaker. So our topic again, making financial decisions within a relationship. So we're gonna start with a question, and I'll have Kelvin, tell us what he thinks. Okay. So the question is, in a relationship, do you think that both the man and the woman should be open about their income?
Okay. I know we talk about a lot of different things, and for example, you call me up here to talk about relationship, where you can call me up here to talk about quantum physics or finance or any of those things. Mm-hmm. But I think I see the correlation between finance and relationship, which is something I can also talk about, right? And with that being said, I think no. I think the idea of being in a relationship with someone... Wait.
You think that couples should not be open about their income with
it depends, actually. Like, not depending. I think when you talk about a new relationship, that you're just going into this relationship, I don't think it's necessary. But if it's like a very established relationship where you guys are looking into becoming married or becoming more serious and things like that, that's a completely different situation. But if it's just a regular relationship you just started, I don't think anyone is entitled to know how much you make.
Okay, that's fair. I feel like, yes, when you guys just start,
actually, to be honest, it's your choice, right? At no point, if you decide to share that information, feel free. But if you don't feel comfortable, don't. Like, tell her, okay, look, or tell him, this is how much I'm willing to tell you, or how much the bracket I make. If you don't want to say the exact value, that's fine, actually.
Okay, so I agree in terms of, like, you don't need to say the exact value. Like, yes. I understand, the point you're trying to make. And you're saying, like, okay, maybe a new or... So I think we need to even establish what we mean by a romantic relationship. So in the context of this discussion,
yes,
you're boyfriend and girlfriend. So it's not like you're just in the talking stage where you're just getting to know the person. Yes. Because I understand that, in the beginning of your relationship, you might not want to say, oh, this is how much I make. You don't even know this person's going to be your girlfriend. It's just a crush,
Yes.
But once is a fully established relationship that this is your boyfriend, girlfriend, I personally think that you don't need to give them the exact number, but I think they should kind of have an idea of how much you make.
Okay, fair enough. Like, I'm a very financially focused person, so I tend to ask those questions, right? And if you don't tell me, like, it's something that I think makes sense. But so many people in this life just don't want to disclose that number, that value. You're one of them, actually. And it's completely fine.
Are you my boyfriend?
I don't have to be your boyfriend to ask you how much you make and you let me know.
No. So, but I'm saying in a relationship, I would disclose that because I think it's important.
Okay.
But I'm not going to be now. I'm saying everybody. This is how much I make.
Hey, if you make $1 million, why are you not letting people know you make $1 million?
No, but even if I wouldn't tell everyone I make $1 million. I'm just
Fair.
like that. It's just my personality.
Yes.
I would even try to make people think that I don't make $1 million.
I think that doesn't technically make sense. I think
it's not like I wouldn't make them think. It's like I wouldn't go out of my way to show it.
Yes, you shouldn't go out of your way to show
That's
it.
the right word.
But if you made $1 million and someone asks you how much do you make, and if it's someone who is trustworthy, someone who you think you can motivate with those values, then
my
be
parents,
fine.
my siblings,
exactly.
Some of my friends.
I don't think I'll tell all my siblings how much I make.
No, but I'm saying like people that
I don't want anyone asking me for money.
No, but certain people know, and
fair enough.
But I'm not like announcing it.
Yes, I don't think you should associate how much you make with the pride. I think a lot of people do that, where they kind of say, "Oh, I make all of this money," it should kind of brag or boast. But if you're telling people to kind of motivate or push them to do more, do better, that's a completely different situation. The same with the relationship question, right? If your significant other was to ask you guys in a serious relationship, and the person was to ask you, how much do you make? It's fine, like it's not an issue, but at the same time, it's not a recommendation. Like it's not, let me not say recommendation, but it's not a forced thing. If you don't want to disclose that amount, it's fine. If you do, it's fine. It's all up to you as an individual.
I mean, I think it should, Sha. I just think that it's always good for you to know the financial capacity of your spouse, because then I think it can create like unnecessary.
I think you're moving the threshold of what the relationship is. At a relationship,
but imagine if I'm saying that.
Yes.
Let's go for so if I know how much you. Okay.
So
you know what? Let me let you speak.
Let me tell you what you're saying right now. At the beginning of a relationship, it's not by force, right? In the middle of the relationship, before you guys become spouses, it's yes if you want to, no if you don't. But when you guys get into a relationship where this is a marriage, this is a spouse, it's a completely different ball game. You're trying to calculate how this person's day-to-day might affect you, and vice versa, right? At that point, everything that person does affects you the same way everything you do affect that person. So understanding how much each other makes the most sense then, right? And it's not like beating around the bush or anything.
But don't you think that if you don't start to establish a relationship like that maybe not immediately you become boyfriend, girlfriend, but it gets to a certain level where like you guys have to start to establish that trust, because guess what? If you're in a committed relationship, even if you're not married yet, what your spouse does has an impact on you, especially if it has an impact if you see a future with the person, right?
Okay.
Because imagine if you, let me use you in this as an example.
Yeah.
This is a hypothetical situation, but let's say we're in a relationship, right?
Yes.
And you which can never happen because, long story short,
I hate you out of them. But anyway.
Wow, I never knew this. But
not hate. I think hate is a strong word. But
basically, if you, let's say you took out a loan, right, for let's say $300,000, right? If, let's say, hypothetical situation in a relationship, I'd be thinking like, so how are you going to pay this off? Yes. Especially if I'm looking to have a future with you, because whether I like it or not, us being in a union, that debt becomes my responsibility. So I just think that when you're looking to be with someone in the future, it does have an impact, even though you're just dating.
I do believe that too. Like, don't get me wrong, I think that's true. Everything you do affects the other person, even in a relationship. But I think that all of those things are things you talk about over time, right? It's not at the beginning, it's more on the point where this is now someone I'm trying to maybe get into a relationship with. I'm going to propose. How are we going to handle your debt? How are we going to handle your income? How is this going to affect our life broadly, right? And I think there is a time for all of that. It's not someone you've just been dating for a couple months and the person you guys don't have any kind of trajectory, or even if you have a trajectory, it's not like defined. Then you're talking about finances and it's like, you have to tell me how much you make. You have to tell me how much debt.
No. You know, I feel like also, like, to your point, right? I kind of agree with that, with the part where where like it just comes naturally. And you get to
Exactly.
that
Yeah. Exactly.
Stage where
Yeah.
you guys have to.
Exactly.
But when it comes to that stage, you should say it though, because there's
Definitely.
people. Because essentially, what I'm getting from you now
Yes.
is that okay. Because I know you initially said no.
Oh no.
But it seems like you're like, okay, yes, like when the time is right.
I think I said no because of the way you asked the question. In the beginning,
My
you
bad.
were like, should someone you're in a relationship with, and that could be defined as anything. A relationship can be defined as 2 months, and a relationship can be defined as 10 years. Right? I don't know where you're starting from or what you're talking, like what you're specifically talking about at that point, right? So at 2 months, it's not necessary. At 10 years, more or less, very necessary.
10 years is long. Before 10 years.
Exactly,
I beg.
exactly.
Before 10 years. Don't let no man. Me, I just think
And to
that.
give me questions that will make us fight for our viewers,
God.
You know what I came here for.
Okay, what question do you want?
I want serious
What is serious gingered question? Like
talk
what?
about
Who should pay on
relationship.
date?
Exactly.
That is not even a serious question. I feel like
Exactly. It is a serious question, no? It is a serious question
Okay,
because
who should
I
pay on
have been
date?
hearing nonsense and I want to talk about it.
Oh yeah, spill the tea.
First of all, let's start
yeah.
by saying, look, I believe in an equal relationship from beginning to end. No double standards in that shit. If I invite
I
you
already
to in a
did say the
relationship,
chaotic, but let's go
right? If I tell you come on a date and you don't offer to pay, if I'm not saying you should pay, but if you don't at least do that this gesture that people do where they're like, until you know it's not second date is not happening. I'm sorry, it's just not. I refuse to go on a second date with a girl who doesn't at least reach for her purse. She cannot.
In that whole run that you just did,
Yes.
I have so many questions because first you said, oh, you think equal relationship, right? So are you technically saying that when it comes to managing finances in a relationship, it should be half, like 50-50?
Yes, in everything. You're going into a relationship with another person like it's 50-50. I'm not, or it has, as the modern people say, 100. Like there is no, you are doing all of this and I'll sit around and do all of that. Look, the same way if you talk about childbirth, I know the lady is going to carry the child, although me, I'm not really pro having kids, but I know the lady is going to carry the child and everything. That is where I have to come as a trustworthy husband and make sure I'm also putting in my own 100%. If she's carrying the child, do other things that make her feel happy, feel satisfied, feel content in that period, right? It's all 50-50 from beginning to end for me personally. And how does that beginning start? That beginning starts by at least saying, oh, can we split, or do you want me to cover this? Look, I'm still somewhat of a traditional man by like psychologically in that sense. So the only reason why I want you to at least reach is just to tell me that you are willing to do that. I don't need you to pay because I make enough money for me to pay for the meal, but I don't need you to pay. But at least you doing that shows me that in the future, when things get hard, you're going to cover me. Right? People are like, oh no, in the future when things get hard, you're going to cover me and everything. But that is what proves it. It's those small things in the beginning of the relationship that proves it later down the line. Right? The kind of things you structure in the beginning is going to show at the end of the relationship or within the relationship.
Okay, well, thank you, Kelvin.
Seriously, I thought you'd be more gingered about this.
I mean, so that's it. Like, I think somebody has asked me this question before. Like, what do I think? How should people pay on dates? Should the guy pay? Should the girl pay? Personally, now, not a lot of girls will agree with me on this.
Yes.
Sorry. But personally,
Yes.
I kind of, like, I don't really care like that who pays or who doesn't
Fair.
pay. However, I also think that, so if, why am I using myself as a issue? Here you go.
Use yourself as
Okay,
an
so
example.
I've gone on a date and I did bring out my card, and if I had
Yes.
to pay, fine.
Yes.
Right? However, I do think that you, as the guy, right, you approached me.
Yes.
You said, hey, let's go on a date.
Okay.
Out of my time.
Okay.
And also, this is the beginning stage. I don't know if I like you or if I'm even...
Fair.
I'm just like, okay, sure. Right? I think that out of courtesy.
Yes.
It's like I take my girlfriends out, and if I'm dragging them out, it's different if we agree to go together. But if I'm taking them out, I expect to pay.
Yes.
It's like the way if you invite people to your house, you provide food for them.
Okay.
It's not even a questionnaire question. So I just think that out of courtesy, he should pay.
Okay. I have.
And how I think of the whole courtesy thing is
Yes.
if you are coming, let's say you even want to, let's say, go out of a room and then a guy is there, like maybe he, like usually the guy will wait, allow you pass, so maybe he would even open the door for you. And I think that him paying on the dates, it's a courtesy thing. Like you should do it because you literally are the one who asked this person to take you out on a date. And in your own context of like, oh, there's women out there who don't mind it, right?
Yeah.
I think that for me actually, you know how you said they established the foundation for the relationship. I feel most girls, them paying is establishing a foundation of, like you said, 50-50. I don't want 50-50.
You don't want 50-50?
I don't want 50-50.
What do you want? 70?
Why not
70? Oh, hey,
well,
hey,
why
hey,
not going
hey,
to talk
I'm
about me here?
No. Wait, let's hold on that point.
Because now I feel like we're going to dive into gender roles now.
No. Wait. We're still talking about finances to some extent, right? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it, right? I'm a man and I've been on a lot of dates in my life, right? Right. First of all, if you are not interested in me, I'm not saying be interested in me. Look, I ask you out to go out to dinner or something. If you're not interested in me, let me know before we even go. But like, I don't know if I want to go on a date. At least clarify those things, right? If you decide to go on a date with someone, that means you saw some kind of potential, right? That means you are also in that situation now. It's no longer, I don't know if I'm interested in him or not, right? You saw that potential.
Isn't it the same
That's the
way
first thing. That's the first thing. Then the second thing is you are saying, oh, it's the guy who invited me. That is why he should pay and things like that. I have been on this earth for over 2.5 decades. And I can count how many times in my one palm, how many times a girl has actually invited me on a date before. And most of the times it is like we are in a long-term relationship. We've been dating for maybe months or even years before she's like, oh, we don't used to do those things that we used to do when we first started dating. And she's like, let's go on dinners. And even in that situation, I have to still nudge it for her to be like, you know what, let's go on a date. And she's the one who is inviting me. I have never been on a date in the beginning of a relationship where a girl has actually said, you know what, I'm inviting you out on a date. You paid for the first, second, or you paid for the first dinner. I'm going to pay for the second dinner. It has never happened to me in my life. And I've been here. I can go and ask people who are 40 years and I'm sure they will have the same situations, right? So that idea that whoever invites the other person to the date should pay is ridiculous because most girls never do. Sorry, not most girls. A majority, I don't want to offend people.
What's the difference?
Because most assumes maybe more than like 100%. A majority, maybe it could be more than 50. You know, I'm not trying to offend any girl out there, but what I'm trying to say is that the standards is we are fighting for equality. Ladies fight for equality all the time, which is a beautiful thing. But why does equality get thrown under the table or under the bus when it doesn't favor the girl in any way? Right? Men for centuries have been taking, not centuries, maybe a couple years, have been taking women out of dates, been paying for it, no issues. Why is it that we are fighting for equality, but then this is a difficult thing? And I'm not even expecting you to pay. That's the truth. I'm not like, I have never let a girl pay on the first date in my life. But you not able to reach for that bill is one of the worst things I've seen. Right? And it gets worse because I've been on a date and the girl was sitting down there ordering like she was ordering for our whole generation. Her family, her family's family. She was ordering wings for everybody she knew. And the bill came out to almost $300 and she didn't even offer to pay. I've seen those situations.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I've listened to you and I understand.
To be honest, actually, let me add one more thing. In the comment section, if you want to challenge me, leave a fucking comment. I'm going to fight with you. I will be there with my account, and I'll be Kelvin Kuzi, and I'll be typing like a keyboard warrior. Watch.
He has dropped his Instagram handle. You guys go and at him at Kelvin Kuzi.
Come on,
fight him. All the girls descend. I give you authority.
Yes.
But right, like I gender roles, and I knew that would happen with this type of question.
Okay.
And you guys, I'm going to have an episode on gender roles coming soon, so make sure you check it out.
Yes.
But for now, we're still gonna stick to the finances and the pain on dates and all of that. Like, yes, but honestly, I know you're saying not a lot of girls are asking men on dates, but in the society that we live in, like, if a girl asks a guy out on a date, it might look like, oh, maybe she's too thirsty or what.
Oh, but this is like,
which is why they're not doing
I'm never saying the first date.
And when I say
second
that,
date,
when I
third
say that,
date,
oh, the
any.
guy invited, I'm not implying the rule of, oh, whoever, because I've seen that on the internet where they say like, oh, whoever invites should pay on the date.
Yes.
No, I don't think whoever invites should pay on the date. I just think that I'm coming from a place where I just think that as a man, it's just courtesy, like just do it, like. And again, like, I think to your point, you know, most you want them to offer, but in the end you still end up paying, which is fine. But I don't necessarily think that. I feel like in some cases it's right where, like, okay, maybe if the girl doesn't offer to pay, maybe moving forward in relations, because I've seen some situations where, like, the man will really be struggling to, like, pay for things, and the woman will have so much money and she will not contribute. Wait till so there's situations like that, right? However, there's also situations whereby, because the woman did not offer to pay on the first date, this man can be struggling. This woman for years will pay for every single thing. Like, I have a friend like that who's, like, in a relationship and, like, for, like, the past 3 years, because her boyfriend, he isn't working like that, but they love each other and they have an understanding, and she pays. However, the first couple days they went, maybe she didn't offer to pay, but he paid. So I feel like that stance of, like, oh, if they don't offer, it means you're not going to be supportive. I don't think that that's right. I feel like if we're going on a societal standpoint, or, like, chivalry and all of these things, like, that's kind of like the expectation. That's what's been happening. Let me
add one more thing on that.
Now.
Sorry.
Some girls see it as, offering to pay. Like, why? Like, does he expect like, oh, when we're together or we're married, it's me that's going to be doing all the heavy lifting, paying for fun? Like, they can always pay, but they just want to, like, establish that, okay, me being with you, you're the main provider. Like, I have money to give, right?
Me, I not sign up for that main provider role. I didn't sign up for that.
Okay. Kelvin's like, we do 50-50 in this household.
We are splitting everything to the middle.
Period. So even, like, how but when it comes to splitting, so you're saying, like, and also, so when you have, like, a house, you guys live together, your mortgages will be split, groceries, everything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we know what we look. If I make more money than her, like significantly more money, I will know what that equivalent of split would be. So in that sense, if she's bringing,
equal, essentially.
Yes, it's equal. Where based on what you're making, you're bringing the same percentages that I'm bringing, right? So if I'm making 200,000 and you're making 100,000, we do the math. Maybe I'll be bringing 75% in that situation, and you'll be bringing 25%. Right, but at the end of the day, we are contributing the same exact things to that relationship, right? And look, I am not here to use someone's child or say any of those things. Like, look, I am a very simple person when it comes to monies. For me, that's not even what matters the most in the relationship, right? But for me, in most situations when I've gone on a date and the girl hasn't offered to pay, it's never worked out. Right, if she didn't reach or she didn't do anything to make that gesture, most times it doesn't work out. And I've seen it multiple times because I have been in those relationships, right? And I know.
Well, would you say maybe you've just not been lucky?
Lucky, yes. Everyone can say it's luck. Maybe the girls you've met and everything. So, but for me, as someone who has been on, let's say, in my whole life, let's say I've been on 30 dates, and maybe 15 out of that 30 dates have been girls who didn't offer to pay. Actually, maybe like more like 20% or 20 or 25 didn't offer to pay. Then none of the 25 worked out, but the 5 who actually offered to pay ended up working out to some extent. Then it's clear.
Okay, I'm not going to argue, Sha, but I'll just say that we have like, okay, so when it comes to just the last, I guess, thing that we have to speak about is, so when it comes to joint accounts, what do you think? Do you think joint or separate accounts?
I think both individuals should have a separate account, and there should be like a joint account in the middle where we both get our percentages and put it in there. So the percentage based on what you make will be put into that main account, right? And that will be the account used to pay for, be it mortgage, be it rent, be it whatever we are paying for groceries, will be taken out of that joint account. But both of us still have our individual monies where I can do whatever I want with my money, you can do whatever you want with your money. Like, that is how I believe.
Okay. So I agree with you on that. Yes. But I agree, Sha. But why do you think that it should be? Why not just have a joint account? Why must you have your own separate account and then there's
a joint account with what? I put my money inside. You can touch my money. No, we don't do that. I don't do that.
But honestly, I think that the main issue people have with when it even comes to finances is more of openness.
I'm open and telling you,
and even like with the numbers, like, I think that it just boils down to openness. People just want to be aware, and like there's some situation, especially like, I mean, I did not do I did research on this, but like I didn't check like actual stats. But I heard, and I might be wrong.
About stats.
No. I've heard, but like a lot of people actually. I've heard a lot of people argue and fight when it comes to finances in relationships, right? So I think that it all boils down to openness, and also like, even if you guys decide to have, let's say you decide to have your joint and then your separate account, or even if your wife knows what your income is, I feel like when it comes to finances in relationship, people still might even fight, maybe because they don't like your spending habits.
It's my money.
Yeah, but I feel like it can become more complicated when you have like kids. Yes.
Okay, let's put it this way, right? In a relationship, obviously, you go into a relationship with someone. You know the person's spending habits before you got into that relationship. You knew everything about the person, right? You're not. It's not. Yeah,
but like if you guys didn't have kids, then you probably maybe expected that when you guys are married, he steps up.
Trust me, if someone is that way before you start,
what if it's a situation where like, let's say I lost my job and I'm not making money.
In that situation, I'm willing to cover you until you find a new job. Yes, but
I don't know when I'm going to get a job yet, and I expect you to be more prudent in your spending, but you're still spending lavishly. Then we'll start to argue.
In that situation, it's not your money, but it's your fault. You lost your job.
No, but okay, in this economy that we live in, where people just got crazy layoffs, right? And now you have to depend on your, let's say, I feel like even if you're in a relationship and it's just dating, let's not be honest. I feel like if you're a good boyfriend, you will literally step up for your girlfriend in that phase. And let's say if you're married, you still would have to step up for your wife in that phase. But the thing is that I feel like it can be, essentially what I'm trying to say is that if you guys don't have similar understanding on how to manage finances, even though you have your separate accounts, I know how much you make, there will still be arguments. Because if you come into the house and you bought like 3 Louis Vuitton bags,
I have a question.
Why are you buying this bag when we have school fees to pay?
I have a question, right? So you lose your job, right? And you're expecting me to stand up and be more productive to the system, right? Whilst you're searching for a job, right? And because I'm not being more productive to the system, you decide to leave me. Then who will cover your bills?
No one said that she's going to leave you. I'm telling you that it would cause argument.
It will cause argument, but it's not your money, though.
Okay, you guys, what I'm trying to say here is that whoever your partner is, you need to understand what their spending habits are.
True.
Like, you need to really take your time to understand what their spending habits are, because despite you guys even being open and like you know how much he makes and all of that, if he's a frivolous spender, it will still piss you off, because you'll be wondering, why do you need 10 of the same types of shoes? Like, you have one. Like, things like that would piss you off, and that's the point that I'm trying to get across.
And from my view, I just believe that if first of all, get into a relationship with someone who is very, very clear, and be clear with the person. This is what I want, right, from this relationship. You two, as the lady or the guy, have your separate monies and have your savings, because that will help in case you lose your job, and always have some kind of a backup plan, more or less. So if you lose your job, that's fine. You have a backup plan, you have savings, you have something in the system, right? That way, there is no animosity when one person loses his job and has to rely on the other person, right? Because at the end of the day, if that happens, right, and you're getting angry at the person who actually has a job in the relationship, you are going to lose that person. And then you're going to be stuck not having anyone's help, right? So instead, understand who you are getting in a relationship with, have a backup plan, and make sure that if anything was to hit the ceiling, that backup plan works for you. And that's what I've always done. Like, I always make sure that I have a backup plan and I help out. But at the end of the day, you also have to do the same for yourself. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, so you guys, that brings us to the end of this episode, but I'm just going to drop some 1, 2, 3 tips.
Yeah.
I'll just say, when it comes to finances in a relationship, communication is key.
Okay.
You guys, like, see, Kelvin gave his example of he wants 50-50. If he has that understanding with his girlfriend, great. But you guys need to communicate. What are your expectations of the man? If you're not willing to go 50-50, that's fine. Just communicate and make sure your spouse is willing and down to do it. And also, when it comes to who manages the finances, it's best to opt for who has the better financial background. Like, I have a accounting degree, Kelvin has a finance degree. He might be better at, like, okay, maybe we should invest in this, or let's do this budget. He might be better at it than you are. So whoever is best in managing finances should be in charge of making those plans. And that is the tea. Bye, guys. We're gonna see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.